Welcome back to another episode of Hello Ladies, where feminism meets pro wrestling. I am solo today, and I do apologize. Did not get an episode out last week. Yeah, I've been traveling like crazy. Oh, I'm not by myself. I have Cheddar here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the corner of his face. Hi, Chetty. He's also very upset that I have been traveling. Yeah, I know. Mommy has been very busy. Um, and part of that has been for wrestling related things. Most of it's been for work. For those of you who do not know, I work at a domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking crisis center. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And boy, oh boy, does everyone want me to give presentations. That's what I do. I don't do direct service. Quite frankly, I couldn't do it. I would turn into a vigilante quite quickly. So I do education and prevention work instead. So this is probably it's definitely the busiest month for me, like outside of work, because birthday and Halloween, which is my favorite holiday, if you could not tell, and Comic-Con happens. So I am going to talk a little bit about Comic-Con. Also, MJ did send me a birthday gift, which I keep meaning to make a TikTok about, and I will do that. I have been so busy, I can't even make a simple like TikTok. I have reached out and like thanked her, obviously, but she sent me this amazing book that I've been like eyeing for years. It's The Sisterhood of the Squared Circle: The History and Rise of Women's Wrestling. And the forward is actually by Natalia. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I mean, it starts off in the beginning of, and like it's a lot of, just from paging through it, it looks like it's mostly American wrestling. I mean, there's some crossover, but like the little bit that I know about Japanese women's wrestling, there's some notable women who appear from, again, first glance, to be missing from this. China, yes. I saw her when I was flipping through this at first, and I was like, yes, this is a legitimate book. You know, that's how I judge everything. Like, oh, it's about women's wrestling, doesn't mention China. Most things do. But yeah, so I'm very excited to read that. It's also, I mean, it's a hefty sucker. I'm so glad to see that it is. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, so excited. When I do get through that biggin, I'll do one of my Sabrina reviews. Yeah, so also I made this forever ago. It's a Hello Ladies podcast mug. Let me see. I don't, it's not showing up that great on camera. But I finally got it back and I made myself coffee. I hate this coffee, I learned like as I started filming. So there's that. But anywho, so Comic-Con. I'm a big old nerd, but one of the things I love about New York Comic Con is there's such a strong crossover with wrestling. In fact, the day that I went, I met Danhausen, and I have a photo with him, which I just put up on the wall, so I'm not ripping it down right now. But I put it in my grandmother's antique frame. I think it looks banging. But the downside about getting a picture specifically with someone at Comic-Con or an autograph or something like that, if it's one of like it's like the basement of the Javits Center, but it's not called the basement, whatever. It's real fast, right? If they're at a booth, very different. I highly recommend doing the booth experiences because you get time to talk with them, get a little interaction. Like literally, I just got to run up to Danhausen. They took a picture and they're like, "Leave, lady." And Danhausen clearly was just like, "Thank you so much." Like he's someone who I feel like generally likes interacting with his fans. But yeah, I will say up close, his hair looks super soft. Not that anyone has ever been wondering that, but this is something I noticed. I don't know. I guess maybe because his makeup is so how it is. I was expecting, I don't know, like a lot of hair gel or something, but it looks super soft. So also at Comic-Con. I did miss the wrestling fan meetup where people were dressed as various wrestlers. I did get some great photos though. There was a woman who was dressed as the Fiend, which was phenomenal, top notch. There was also a man who looked like the love child of Bray Wyatt and wow, my Brody, I can't remember his name all of a sudden in WWE, but anyway, and of Brody, like just looked like their love child, and it was him and his wife. The wife was pregnant, and on her belly, she wrote Sister Abigail. It was so cute. Fantastic. But my friend that I met up with at Comic-Con is my college roommate, not a wrestling fan. We used to have utter fights because when we were in college, 2009, 2010, I would want to watch wrestling on the TV in our living room. She did not want to do that. And she was like, you can go watch it on your TV. And I was like, no, I can't, because we don't have cable in that room, because that's how that worked back then. Oh, aging myself. Anyway, so we're at Comic-Con, and the group had let out. The reason I didn't get to see them was I was going to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Slayers panel. Anyway, but when we got out and we went outside, like, because there again, the Javits Center, it's like enclosed, but outside, like where food trucks are and whatnot, if it's nice out, there's photographers there. A lot of people just gather in costumes, and you see a lot of great cosplay. And there was a group of wrestling cosplayers, and I heard them before I saw them, because all I heard was yeah, going like chanting throughout. And I was in mid conversation, heard that, my face completely changed, and I got super excited. And my friend was just like, what is that noise? I'm like, those are my people. Like, that's wrestling. That's wrestling. This is not noise. It is a call. So, which led to her being like, I don't understand like how wrestling wound up at Comic-Con. And I was like, where would you like me to begin? Because I mean, there are comics that are like physical comics, and also haha comics, but that are wrestling themed, wrestling related. They're like, it's there. There's so many connections at this point. It's ridiculous. And obviously there's wrestlers on the floor. I didn't get any, I was really upset. I didn't realize that Matt Hardy was on the floor, signing like Gothic Baby stuff. And I totally would have done that. I would have had Matt Hardy sign some Gothic Baby stuff. But I've met him before. He is a pure joy. There were some others I would have gotten into Mick Foley's line, but he was having lunch, and I didn't know if he was signing anything at that point, but I didn't want to bother him. However, so the first aisle in Comic-Con against the one wall always has like wrestlers and stuff. So I went down that. So I also found my tea and absinthe sampler box. I love tea and absinthe, not wrestling related, but so I continued on down, and I ran into this place called Geeks right here. Again, there we go. If you're watching, you can see they do earrings and pins, and the guy had, I saw these wrestling related ones, and I immediately was like, can you show me all of the ones that you have that are wrestling earrings? Because wrestling earrings are not easy to find. You can find them, again, it's AW Geeks on social media. We are following them on our Instagram, and I definitely made a post tagging them. But the earrings I'm wearing right now, the BTE ones, those were worn by the Young Bucks on TV. Same with these little Young Bucks earrings here, which is not why I got them. There were some things that were worn on TV, like specifically the pins I like pins, but I was after earrings. So these were also worn. And then I got these two. So we have some little chairs, and then the Bullet Club ones, which are wooden actually, unlike the others. So I'm trying to, okay, everyone knows what the Bullet Club logo looks like, right? If you're listening to this podcast, I hope so. If you've just stumbled upon it, I mean, it's possible, I guess, that you're really into feminism and you're like, sure, what's the crossover with wrestling? In which case, this is a strange one to listen to first, but I probably say that about a lot of them. Anywho, so highly recommend if you're especially someone who wears earrings or into pins, give them like go check them out. So yeah, that was Friday, October 13th. That was and I will say Adam Cole was supposed to be there. There was supposed to be a thing with him and MJF where you could get pictures of both of them, but Adam Cole wasn't there. I don't know if he was, because I think he was supposed to be there the following day too. I wasn't going that day, but yeah, MJF is pictured above me again. Sorry, anyone who's listening to this, like the picture one is definitely better today. YouTube, there we go. But yeah, I met MJF 2-3 years ago at Comic-Con. Back when his autograph, I think, was like $40. And I got that in a picture. So you're not paying that now. So that's the autograph part. But yeah, so kind of looks like I didn't mean to like cut off his head, so it's just like his body there, but shots, blah. There, I guess this is less weird. I don't like that. Anyway, yes, Comic-Con was awesome. That was Friday the 13th. The next day I celebrated my birthday with a bunch of friends. That Sunday, October 15th, is my actual birthday, and I traveled down to Philly to meet up with a friend. But yeah, a lot of traveling. So my wrestling stuff though, not done. Last weekend I traveled to Pittsburgh for a friend's wedding, and while I was there, towards the end of it, towards the end of the reception, this woman came up to me, and she was someone I met a decade ago, and was just like, "Oh, Bartle, the groom, told me that you were going to be here," and I was really excited, and I was like, "Cool." We met, I think, once, but I remembered her. You know, she used to date my friend Tom, and I was obsessed with her cat, and I remember she really liked Alice in Wonderland. But she was like, "Oh, I want to talk to you about wrestling," and suddenly the world stopped, and I was like, "Yes, who cares what's going on around us? Let's talk the wrestling." And I got so excited because she's really into AEW, and I asked her who some of her favorite wrestlers were, and when she said the Best Friends, I was just like, let's talk about it. She's down in Philly, that's where she lives, and I was like, did you know that is where Chuck Taylor lives? So I mean, it's a huge, big ass city, but keep an eye out. So yeah, I love that. Like, we talked wrestling for 5-10 minutes. And I hope to continue talking to her. But I was like, what a fun way to like rekindle a connection or like grow a friendship. And I think that's one thing people don't talk about so much. I mean, I think MJ and I have talked about it like in regards to like people on the internet, because both MJ and I have had the experience of, especially as women in wrestling, or not in wrestling, but who like wrestling, it can be a little difficult finding like other women who like wrestling, or like just like your group of people. So like Wrestle Talk has really helped me with that. And just like I've made some pretty good friendships, but I've also found me being so open about my love of wrestling has made other people who like are casual fans or who have gotten into it recently more apt to talk to me about it, specifically women, because again, it can be difficult to find ladies who are like out in the wild talking about their love of wrestling, or at least in my little corner of the world. Um, I wanted to really talk about. So for a while, like we had really been talking about how women were not being featured on like any of the shows. Um, and now, at least with WWE, that has really started to change. Like on Raw, I've been seeing that there's more women. I haven't caught SmackDown in a while because I've been traveling and I haven't really caught it. Uh, it's so good when you have a wrestling podcast and you can't catch the shows. But I mean, anyway, NXT though, how about that? Like Halloween Havoc night one, that card, it was the majority was women. The headliner, of course, was the first Irish versus Irish ladies match. I'm not sure if we've had an Irishman versus an Irishman like on like a main stage like that. Because I mean, I don't. Well, has Finn Balor gone against Sheamus like one on one? I don't know. Anyway, if he has, let us know. Or I could Google it, I suppose. Anywho, what like talk about getting the rub though? Like Becky Lynch, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a torch passing moment, but it was definitely like a heads up to everyone that um there's a new gal on the block who is they see something in. Like you're not beating Becky Lynch for any sort of title if like especially if she's not injured, if they don't see something in you. So that is so exciting. And I'm really excited to see where like I want this momentum to keep going. I am also excited about the Crown Jewel women's match, like I think it's a fatal 5-way, right? Um, because it's a bunch of strong ass women. Like for a long time, like you would have one or two, and unless they were fighting each other, like you had no idea who was going to win, or like you had a clear idea of who was going to win. With this, these women are more equally matched on size as far as strength goes, and in some cases height. And like I'm so excited like that there is a match with a bunch of strong, powerful women who are just going to tear the house down. And I appreciate how Nia Jax has been like using her fan hatred, the hatred the fans have towards her, or some fans. And like it's just such smart booking. Thanks, Triple H. With the whole thing. And I believe MJ and I have talked about this before. I have never wrestled, right? So I'm more keen to listen to wrestlers talk about if someone is safe or not. And like the women thus far have said, like, accidents happen. It's nothing like they're not blaming Nia for anything that's happened. No one's like refusing to work with her because she is unsafe. So when and if something like that comes out, then we can reevaluate. But I mean, Seth Rollins went through a phase where he was accidentally hurting people. Like Finn Balor knows better than anyone. I mean, there was the incident with Sting. I don't think Sting actually likes Seth Rollins, but everyone like forgave and forgot about that for the most part. I don't think people forgave and forgot about Nia because she is a woman. She's a woman of color and she is plus sized. And I think people are just like some people just were looking for something nasty to say about her. But this is all to say, I'm happy where this trend is going. I want to see more women's wrestling on AEW, more consistent storylines, and storytelling. AEW has so many great things going for it. Like, I feel like it's like one of the few pieces it's really missing. And Nyla Rose was recently, or actually, I don't know when this interview happened. I just saw the TikTok because MJ sent it to me, where she was saying she really wanted there to be AEW women's tag team titles. And yes, I think AEW could really book the shit out of women's tag division. We know Tony Khan can do that. AEW's booking for their tag division in general has a consistent history of being baller. So crossing my fingers. Come on, Tony Khan. At the same time, I'm also one of those people who's like, for the love of God, no more titles in AEW. But if you're going to do them, maybe have it be even a cross-brand thing where it's for both Ring of Honor and AEW and they can bounce back and forth. I'd be fine with that. Why not? Why not, Tony Khan? You own those things. You make the rules, literally. So yes, this is going to be a short podcast today. Hopefully next week, I'll cross my fingers and we'll get some MJ back. If not, it'll just be me, maybe a special guest. We'll see. Now that I'm not running all over creation. That's not true. That's not true. I'm traveling again more. Oh, by the time you're seeing this, like I'm not able to watch Dynamite live tonight because I'm traveling. Like I will be on the road at that point. So yeah. But things the week before Thanksgiving, things will slow down for me and things will be more normal. But in theory, we are going to keep doing weekly podcasts. I'm so sorry. I probably should have put out a thing that it just wasn't going to happen. I meant to film last week, but life happened. I'm so sorry. And that's like an actual, like, I'm so sorry. But yes, thank you for listening to this short caffeine fueled podcast. And me and Cheddar, if nothing else, we'll see you next week. And as always, in the name of our Lord and Savior, John Cena, hustle, loyalty, and respect. Yabadoo.